Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we are currently taking our space station core up to, well, intercept with our fuel tug, which kind of needs an assist, but it's not really a fuel assist, it's more along the lines of it needing a communications assist. So we're going to go ahead and warp to this and we will dock up with that shortly. At least I hope we will. That'll be interesting now that I think about it. I'm pretty sure we can make it happen. We'll just position here. This is going to be a 1 minute, 6 second burn. This is not a relay antenna though, is it? I don't believe it is. So that's going to make things interesting, for sure. For sure. But I'm pretty sure we can make this happen. So we're going to warp towards 1 minute, 6 seconds, and then we will go ahead and burn this now. Fantastic. This is going to be a relatively lengthy burn, but that is okay. We are headed off here, and that is kind of a beautiful view. I like it. That is pretty great. We're, of course, going to end up being a separation of like 18 kilometers or so, and then a relative speed of about 267.4 meters per second. That shouldn't be too bad. We're going to go ahead and switch into target mode right now. We're basically burning target prograde right now, which is, you know, about what we want. But we should be able to at least get ourselves a reasonable encounter here. And then, in theory anyway, dock up with the fuel tug. I'm definitely a little concerned because we don't actually have a docking port on the end here. So that's going to be very interesting to try to like control from here and have it be a 90-degree angle to our engines. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to pull that one off. It is possible to do, for sure, but it's going to be very interesting. We also don't have thrusters on this. We may have to do the actual docking from the fuel tug, but position for the docking with the core here. That's going to be very interesting to see how I pull that off. I have no idea yet. We'll find out once we get there. I mean, if we have communication via this radio, or even is this potentially able to do a relay? I don't know. Maybe. And then this relays to this antenna, which then would do it. But this isn't a relay antenna. So that's going to be very interesting to see how that ends up going. Regardless, we can get ourselves an idea of what we need anyway. So this is still going to be absolutely fine. I'm going to just change our heading here a little bit. And let's run this just ever so gently. Okay. I've definitely overshot here a bit. We're going to burn target retrograde a tiny, tiny amount here and see what we can get. Yeah, this is looking much better. That is interesting, to be sure. Very interesting. Orbital prograde? Yeah, we're going to burn orbital prograde here a bit. That's towards target there. I want to see what this does. Yeah, that widens it back out. Because I think we need to burn, like, orbital radial here and get this moved over this way a little bit. I think I was just a little off on that. Yes, this is the direction we need to burn. Nope. This is not the direction we need to burn. It was at first, and then it wasn't. Let's try orbital retrograde. Or rather, orbital radial here. Radial out. No, this is radial in. Okay. Noted. We will switch then over to target. And I don't believe target has a radial node. It does, but it's not marked. That's fascinating. What does this actually do? Let's experiment with it, I guess. Is this just exactly on... Yeah, that's just exactly on each pull of the nav ball. And yeah, that burns it away. So what if we go to radial in, which I don't think is a real node. in target mode. I mean, that got it a little closer there, in all honesty. Sure. And then what if we just burn towards target here? What would this actually end up doing? Well, that works. A bit. I'd say this is close enough for now. We're about 840 kilometers out, and we'll call that good. So let's just go ahead, and that's 5 days, 4 hours. That's 7 days, 1 hour. Okay. So let's go ahead and create a maneuver here, where we're just going to, this is going to be a relative difference of what? Actually need to delete this node. A relative speed of 258.7 meters per second. Okay, so we'll go ahead and match planes here to 258.7 meters per second. That's fine. So this will be something like this. 258, that was a little much. 258.7. So right there. We're only using that as the timer. That is not the actual burn that we want. We want this to be target retrograde, and we will go ahead and warp towards that. That'll be a few days out, and that's okay. We'll go ahead and warp towards it. And yeah, we're going to have to do a get closer burn, but we knew this would be the case. This is a pretty wacky orbit, and I just want to match this orbit fairly closely here. Okay, we got some science points back. That's great. And that, of course, finishes our science data from surface of the moon, and also our science data from surface of Minmus. That is fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and burn this right now, because I think our distance is getting further away. Yes, it is. So we should have probably burned this a little bit earlier, but it's okay. We're not too far away right now, only about 800 kilometers, and I'm reasonably comfortable. This is actually basically exactly orbital prograde, which is funny. But we're going to go ahead and set this up here, like that or so. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and do a get closer burn here. So we're going to head towards target at this point, and we're going to burn in at, I don't know, maybe like, we're a ways out. Maybe like, see, that's currently a separation of 375 kilometers. Let's just tune this via this number here. So we'll just burn in a little bit here on the pro target marker. And we're going to have to do another get closer burn for sure. So just bring this in until it stops being efficient. We're slowing down for sure. We'll stop here. Okay. And then that's going to be a relative speed of 23.7 meters per second. Okay, so we'll just put in a 23.7 meter per second maneuver here. Of course, this will be a target retrograde maneuver. And we will go ahead and warp towards that. Excellent. I don't see the fuel tug just yet, but we're a ways out, for sure. And we're just using this as the timer. So at T-minus 1 second, we'll burn this. Actually, a little lower than that, or a little higher than that, rather. I'm not going to burn this at full speed. So we're just going to go ahead and burn this right around now. And this is the number that we're paying attention to here. Okay, good enough. That is definitely good enough. We're going to do another pro-target burn, or burn towards the target here. Now we're currently only separated by about 60 kilometers, so that's absolutely fine. And we are going to head on in. And that is 26.5. That is about 10 kilometers out. It's definitely losing efficiency right now. That's okay. We do expect this. I want to get this to like 1 kilometer, but that's about the closest we're going to get, it looks like. So that's a relative speed of 4.8 seconds. I'm just going to use that as a timer, and we're going to head on in. Oops. We're going to not cancel the auto time warp. We're going to flip to target retrograde. And we can now see this is our fuel tug here. I want to check. I don't think we have any curb net going on here. Vessel link. I don't think we do. I don't expect that we do. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and hold this retrograde position here. And where are we relative to? There it is. Okay, so we can see we're getting further away here, and we're just going to go ahead and kill this relative speed. There we go. And we're now going to head towards the target, which is actually the other direction here. Head over this way and this way. There we go. And we're going to burn towards that target. This is kind of our last get closer burn here. Kind of. We're going to burn in at something around 5 meters per second here, I think. There we go. We'll flip around to target retrograde, and that will put us at a separation of 0.0 kilometers. So we will go ahead and warp to here. Excellent. And we can see us getting quite a bit closer here. That is fantastic. So let's position in over here. I don't think we're going to have control here. Let's just kill this relative speed. There we go. Something like that. And let's switch over to this. Yeah, we definitely don't have control here. So that's going to make things very interesting. I'd like to set this as our target. In target mode, we could set... Targeting the actual target here is going to be very interesting, to be sure. Very interesting indeed. So I figured this might be the issue here. So if we were to, say, control from this docking port, and we wanted to turn this towards the target, that's all well and good. But we need to position ourselves in such a way where this guy can come in. So, to that end, do we have RCS control? The answer is no, we do not. Okay, that's good to know. That's pretty close there. So if we were able to point, say, radial in here, that is fairly close to the target point. So the idea here then is that we need to move slightly forward. Ooh. Flips back? We want to be at orbit radial in. We'll let it sit here, and then I guess we'll turn off the SAS. I don't want it to flip back. Okay. So now we'll accelerate to about 1 meter per second here. And we need to go to target retrograde here. And we need to stop this. What? Target retrograde. What is this doing? Okay. Bizarre. I'm very confused by what target retrograde is doing right now. I'm so confused. This is not target retrograde. We're in target mode. What is happening? What is wrong with target retrograde? This is not... Oh, I'm a moron. I am a moron. That's the problem. Okay. So we're going to have to adjust this, of course. This is no longer going to work quite like I was hoping it would. We're just going to go ahead and bring this up like this for right now. And now we can flip back to target retrograde. Because I'm entirely an idiot. I mean, this isn't new news. Let's position here. Okay. And at this point, I'm going to let us drift upwards a bit. I want to get in line with this. This is going to be very complicated, but we knew this would be the case, And what we're doing right now is we are just positioning ourselves on an inline trajectory here. So right about here is actually halfway decent. Okay. So at this point, I want to head up, which is kind of this direction. That's towards target. I want to go a bit beyond the target and go up here. The unfortunate thing is we have to be above 1 meter per second to get the target retrograde auto-find. Okay. So we're bringing this in. I'm going to roll so that we don't have any issues with our solar panels here. There. Next. Need to head that way a little bit, this way. Can we do it just by rolling? Is that enough? Or rather, yawing over here. I don't know. I don't think it's quite enough, which is going to definitely be awkward here. Head in like this. Okay. The stability assist here. And let's see what this ends up looking like here. That this is our target. That's pretty far from any real nodes. So we're definitely going to have to continue positioning this here. Okay, so I want to target us, or rather aim us up this way a little bit and this way. No, not that way. You can stop. There we go. Thing is, this has to be very minor. So now we need to flip around. Not like that, ideally, but there we go. Let this drift into position here. Okay, just hold here for the moment. There. Okay, we'll now position like this. Hold there. And which direction? This direction. And also this direction a bit. Okay. What's that looking? That's close. That's very close. Now, we have to throttle this up absolutely full. Like that. Is that close enough for docking forces? I kind of doubt it. Yeah, not quite. Very, very close. Okay, we're going to use this guy here. We're going to flip around to retrograde. This is very awkward. I figured it would be. I should have put RCS on this. Definitely. Let's get this guy around to retrograde here. Like that. Okay. I need to think about this for a second. So, I mean, obviously this would have been solved by having a better communication device on this. That is the obvious answer, right? But what if we sent a Kerbal out on EVA to do the steering? That's an interesting thought. So I would like to aim up here a bit and over this way. The SAS is making this kind of difficult, and also I have no idea. Like, my orientation here is really weird. Like, going up in this perspective is actually the right button. So, along the lines of this, I need to actually stop it, though. Okay. Just get about 0.2 meters per second, and I don't want to clock this thing. We'll just get this flipped around now. And we've overshot a bit, but let's head up to out here. We're going to keep an eye on this. I think we can do this. I think this is a decent angle. Okay, so we're going to hold here for the moment. I'm just waiting a little bit here. We're going to pivot around like here. So let's go ahead and stop this. Now that's a little early to stop it for sure. But this is the angle that we want to be at right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn us all the way around. Like this. There we go. This is the most awkward docking I think I've ever done. Okay. And then we're going to move in like... We need to stop? We didn't stop. Okay. So now we need to find target retrograde. That was unfortunate. And that's just because my sense of direction is all wacky right now. Okay, there's retrograde. So we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so thinking now. What is our best move from here? Well, first off, it would be great if I knew what direction was what. That would be amazing. Sadly, I do not, so we're just going to do something like this. Okay. Reasonable. Reasonable. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in over here. I want to move a little further over. Yes. About like this. Burn that in. Flip it around. Okay. Let's get to that retrograde node like that. This angle is maybe a little awkward, but I'm going to go ahead and move forward a little here with this. Okay. So far, I'm liking this. This is looking good. Our pivot point is around here. So that's what I'm thinking right now. We're aiming for this port. Okay. And kill that relative speed. Okay. So here's the idea. Control from here. And this is basically right on the pivot point. Oh, docking forces. That's docking forces. Any moment now, the docking forces will align us correctly. Hold here. There we go. We did it. Oh, that was exciting. Okay, so first things first, we're going to shut down this engine. Okay, now we're going to move fuel into here. Fantastic. That was the most awkward docking I have ever done. Period. Hands down. No contest. That was very interesting. So, we now have communication here that is being provided by this antenna, which means that we can now set Minmus as our target, and we can look for a bit of a encounter. This is an encounter. And it's even a halfway decent one. I mean, the inclination is definitely a bit odd. There's no doubt about that. But this seems okay. We can bring this in. We can always correct the inclination a bit later. So let's go ahead and line up for that. Yes, it's going to be awkward with this thing attached to us. There's no doubt about this. I do want to definitely turn off the reaction wheel in here. I want to only use this reaction wheel for now. Excellent. And we'll make our way down. And as soon as we get there, we will freeze these physics. Boom. Okay. We'll go ahead and warp towards that. That is 25 days in the future. So we're going to burn this at the apoapsis once we arrive there. That'll take us some time for sure, but this is a pretty cheap encounter here. I'm very happy about this, actually. Incredibly happy about this. And honestly, this dock went almost smoother than I thought it would. I knew it would be awkward, and I didn't know how I was going to address it, but that went pretty well. Yeah, the tanker is currently completely empty, but we have this basically full, and we're doing just fine. So no concerns on that front. We have, of course, about 6 days left in this time warp. It's a long one, and this was always a very awkward mission, so that's just fine. This is going to be a 3-second burn. So we're going to burn this at T minus 1.5 seconds. We'll go ahead and warp towards that. I do want to get zoomed in on Minmus here. Are we coming in retrograde? I believe this is retrograde. Which means we may want to end up tweaking this, and that's something we can definitely do. That's not an issue. We'll burn this right about now. Shut down this engine, right? Are we controlling from the wrong thing? We may well be controlling from the wrong thing. Yeah, this engine's shut down. Control from here, please. Thank you. That would help. That would definitely help. Okay. Well, it's going to be slightly less efficient, but let's go ahead and burn this. And we're having a bit of a hard time heading downward here with just a single reaction wheel. I'm going to throttle up for a little bit more gimbal authority. Whoa, 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 whoa. We're really drifting up. Like, really drifting up. Okay. Let's slowly make our way down here. There we go. That's a little bit better. Yeah, this is actually quite a lot better. Well, maybe. I mean, this is definitely not designed for these sorts of maneuvers, right? In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and point towards retrograde right now. And I'm going to continue burning here. Yeah, this is kind of going all over. All over the place. What happens if we turn these reaction wheels on as well? Maybe a little bit better. How are we doing? Okay, that's an encounter. Good enough. We'll take it. So I believe we're coming in retrograde here. And let's go ahead and warp to here. That is 26 days in the future, but that is okay. Now, this station is obviously not designed to be maneuvered while we are docked up like this, right? But this is actually all we technically need here, and we're going to want to redock these here. But this will have control authority once we get there. Of course, we did empty these fuel tanks, so that is definitely something I want to consider. But we do have a contract to dock in Minmus orbit. That's definitely something to think about. We've got about another 11 days here on our trip to Minmus. This is not the most efficient way to get to Minmus, that's for sure, but we are getting a good amount of surface-deployed ion collector data, so that's good. That is absolutely great. And we're going to position over here, and we're going to flip over to orbital retrograde as soon as we can. We are entering Minmus now. I do want to check to see what our... No, not that. I want to check... Oh, we don't have any KER on this? I thought we had a KER on this guy, but we don't. So I don't actually technically know that we're retrograde. I think we're retrograde. I think we're retrograde. But I also kind of don't feel like it matters. So I'm going to burn retrograde here right now. Man, that definitely turns it a lot. And I'm wondering if it's the wrong engine that's burning or what. Control point up. Control point forward. I think that would help. We'll go ahead and build retrograde. So that's retrograde there. Yeah, this is the one that I thought that was burning. Okay. Yeah, that pulls us way off there. Okay, we're just going to do a retrograde burn here, and it's going to be basically a minimal retrograde burn. Like that. Yeah, our inclination is wacky. We will fix that, to be sure. So for now, let's go ahead and warp to that maneuver about now. Okay. And I'm not sure if we need to change the control point on this back to up. First, up, forward. Okay. Yeah, this is definitely pulling us, and that's because of our... I'm pretty sure that's because of our passenger here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move some fuel back into these tanks here. Not all of it, but just some. Something along the lines of... That should be plenty. Okay. And then we're going to detach this because now, in theory, we should be close enough for this to get its own data. So we'll undock this and we'll switch over to that. Yeah, we've got full data here now. So we're going to go ahead and RCS and we're going to get a little distance. Fantastic. And then we're going to get each of these into their own stable orbit here. We've got plenty of delta V for both of them, so that should be fine. Oh, right, we need to re-enable this engine. And this is probably not the direction we want to be going, so let's go ahead and hold off on that for the moment. And let's have these guys in their orbit retrograde. I want this to be control point up. There we go. And we'll go ahead and burn this right about now. I just want a minimal viable orbit here. So we'll just bring this on down. And do something along the lines of that. Okay, so of course we are moving away from the fuel tug, and the fuel tug is going to do its own minimum viable burn here. We do need to re-enable this, of course. There we go. And we'll get these set up in their proper stations and get them redocked up in the next episode. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and I will see you all next time.